Thank you so much for being here this morning. What a beautiful day. It's always a beautiful day when we can get together. First of all, when we even wake up. All right, so that's a good thing right there. And last Sunday we talked about what's it to you? What's it to you? And it's just about, we talk a lot here about experience versus story. And we have an experience and we always create a story around it. I don't know why, the why doesn't even matter. I'm talking about what is. And we love to make up stories. And so when we make up stories because our words are so powerful, we're actually drawing into our lives what we're speaking. We speak our life into existence. And so that's why it's important that we understand that we're telling stories. And do we want that story to come true? Because it does. So we can always change what's happening by just changing the story. So experience versus story is important. That's what we talked about last week. And this week we're talking about show up as you. Show up as you. So here's what's important about knowing that on Easter Sunday. Why am I talking about showing up as you on Easter Sunday? Because the question is, who are you? The question is, who are you? And we are constantly evolving. And that is something we don't like to do. We like exactly where we are until it stops working. And then we're wondering, okay, where'd this come from? Well, it just comes from the way that we talk, how we think, whatever, and we have power to change that. So Easter Sunday, and why I want to talk about that today. Now, I don't know how, we all are different ages here. We all have had different experiences with Easter. So I'm going to share just a little bit about my experience with Easter. And it had nothing to actually do with understanding what the resurrection was all about, what Jesus was all about. It had nothing to do with that. It was pageantry. It was all about the big hats that you couldn't see around in church. It was all about the high heels. It was all about the pastel colors and just all of this beautiful fashion show, all the wonderful suits. Everybody came dressed to the nines on Easter Sunday. It was the only time, apparently, that we were supposed to dress up. And so that's what Easter was always about for me. It was great music and wonderful pageantry, and it was just a huge show, which was lovely. I actually go to my sister's church sometimes just to revisit it, because it's actually fun. But it really wasn't spiritually growing me. I'm not saying it's not spiritually growing, it wasn't growing me until I came to New Thought, to understand what we think about it, what we think about living our lives. And it is about a constant living our lives, a constant thinking about who we are, who we want to be, what we want to call into existence. It's about being responsible for our lives. Can you imagine? Responsibility, really? It's my fault the way my life is? Yeah, you're calling it in. So I'm bringing that back up about what Easter is about, because what was the resurrection really about? It's not about the death and the dying. It is about being reborn. And we get to be reborn anytime we want to. We can die to self. We can let that go. That's what dying to self means. It's not a physical death. It's not about, who knows really the story of why they decided to put Jesus up on the cross, the Romans, whoever put him up there. Because he was there with all the rest of the criminals. So what crime did he commit? Talking about that he was God. That seemed to upset a lot of people. And so he's up there and he's dying. But it wasn't about him up there being dying. It wasn't about that. It's about understanding that we die to self, that we get to let go of who we are. And it works. It's about evolution. Our lives are always evolving if we say so. We get to choose how we want to live and what we are willing to release so that we can then expand. Life is all about expansion. It's about life 2.0. Life 2.0. It's always about that. And where do we want to go next? And here's what's one of the things that stops us. We forget who we are and the power of being God. We are individualized expressions of God, and that's power. We can speak our life into existence. But as human beings, we get comfortable and complacent about where we are. And to go to the next phase of our lives, we got to figure it out. It's like, oh, I don't really know how to do that. Well, that's just crazy to say it. Because if you knew how to do it, you'd already be there. So saying that you don't know, right? If you knew how to do it, you'd be there already. So of course, going to the next phase of your life is about learning and growing. But here's the thing. When you claim it and you say, I want to go there, and why do you want to go there? Because it's calling you. Spirit keeps calling us forth. We have purpose. We have meaning in our lives. And it's like you can't start off as a baby and then be a grown person. You have to grow into it. And everything in our lives we're growing into. And whatever is next for us, we have to grow into it. And what we need to remember is that we are spiritual beings. We have the power of God within us because we are individualized expressions of God. And we get to call it in. And so one of the things, I think there's 3 things, if I can remember all 3, that I wanted to share with you this morning about what's important. Number 1, the most important thing is having an individualized relationship and a personal relationship with Spirit. It's like, and I shared this with you guys, or maybe I was sharing it in a personal conversation. It doesn't matter. I'll share it again if I have shared it before. There's a movie that I love, and I've watched it many, many times, and it's called Days of Thunder. And the reason why I love it, and I bring it up now, is because the race car driver, who was Tom Cruise, he's a driver, and he's really good at moving the car around. But he had a guy that was up, that could see the entire racetrack. He could see the entire racetrack. And he was talking to him in the earphones where the guy was driving. And he would say, hey, there's a blowout, go to the left, pull up, go faster, go slower, this is happening. He would tell him all the time, he'd be in his ear. This is how I see God. God is constantly in our ear, telling us what's next, what's coming up, move over, step down, let this go. But unlike Tom Cruise or the race car driver, and maybe sometimes Tom did argue with him because he wanted to go a different direction. But when he argued with the guy or didn't do what the guy said, he ended up in a wreck. Or he'd end up with the car blowing out or whatever. We don't end up in a wreck. But we want to argue with Spirit. And that's all right. There's no consequence other than to you. Like God doesn't have any consequences to you. Like you didn't listen to me, so I'm not going to share anything more with you. That's not how it works. You didn't listen, and so your life isn't going to unfold the way you want it to, because God is telling you to go in a direction, or George is telling you to go in a direction, and you don't see why you should do it. So you don't. Okay. But then you don't get where you want to go. So I'm going to think this story that I want to share with you. In 2015, Spirit just said, it's time to go home. I was living in Thailand, and Spirit just said, it's time to go home. Sorry, what? I'm having a great time here. You sent me here because I asked you to help me put a band together. I wanted to be like a #1 band. I wanted to have a great time, and I'm doing that. I'm having a wonderful time. I don't understand why I'm supposed to go home. And so I didn't say no, I just didn't make plans to go home. Well, it started falling apart. The whole thing just started falling apart. The place where one of the places where I was working got a new F&B manager who wanted to go in a different direction. So I didn't lose my job. I had several jobs, but that was one. I had another woman who was always calling me because she was a wedding planner. And Thailand, or certainly Phuket, is a wedding destination island. So we had weddings all the time. And I was her go-to person to call up. Well, she was having less and less weddings. I don't know what was going on with her, so that means I was having less and less. Do you understand? Just less and less things started happening. And I just thought, all right, I see what you're doing here. I see what's going on. I see why it's time to go. So I just said, okay, all right, I hear you. I'm leaving, because that time had come to an end. It's not like I had done anything wrong. Nothing had happened wrong. It just, things were changing, and Spirit was looking at the entire racetrack and seeing that down the road it wasn't going to be the same as what he had sent me there to do. It wasn't going to happen. And so he was saying, time to go home. But I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm having a good time. I'm loving it. Why'd I go home? And it just started doing less and less until I finally said, oh, okay, I got you. And I came home. And it was perfect time. It was a perfect time to come home because my son and I had been estranged for quite some time. And my grandson, my oldest grandson, was graduating that year in 2015. And when I came back to the U.S., my son called me, and he said, Mom, I'm tired of missing you. Trey, my grandson, his nephew, is graduating. Let's meet up. Let's just meet up in California, and and I want you to meet my new son, and let's just meet up. That's what happened in 2015. That's what was waiting for me. Do you understand? So it's always about the dying to self, letting go of what is, and allowing what's trying to come in, to be. And that's what we get to do. Spirit is always talking, sharing, telling us what's next. And if we just do that, just listen. So the number one thing I said was have a personal relationship with Spirit, however you do it. Spirit talks to me just like I'm talking to you. I think we were reading the book this morning, and it was saying something about, whatever you call, the name for Spirit, whatever you call Spirit, and of course I call Spirit George, or whatever your relationship is. I call him George because George is a friend of mine. George is like my bestie. You have those cups and T-shirts and stuff like that says, it's funny, it's ugly, but it's funny. And it says, I'm the one you call when you want to bury the body. My sister's the one I call if I want to bury the body, right? My best friend is that's who you call because they'll keep your secrets. That's the friend that I have in Spirit. Spirit, it has my best interest at heart. And so I talk with Spirit like he's my bestie because he is. And so I get to argue. What are you talking about? I don't want to go there. Fine. Don't go. That's all Spirit ever says. Fine. Don't do it. And what Spirit's not saying is, you'll see. You'll see. And it's okay. Because it's not a bad thing. I will see. And then I go back and say, all right, yeah, you were right. What's next? And always, Spirit is loving, wanting the best for you, sees ahead on the track, and doesn't force you. We talked about this in class, and I talk about this to you guys all the time. You can't answer a question as in being asked. Yeah, that's what I say. So Spirit is telling me stuff I haven't asked, so I'm not listening. Only when I ask am I listening. So it's the same thing for us. Spirit is telling you stuff, and you're free to go, whatever, because you haven't asked the question yet. You're not ready to hear it. But when you are, Spirit still has the same answer He had for you. And we'll tell you, here's how you do that. Oh, thanks. There's no punishment for that. So that's what this is about. We are, as human beings, we get comfortable with what we know because we know how it works. And so to try to get us to move and to do something different, well, oh, I don't know about all that because I don't really know how it works. You can let go of that, of I don't know how. Your higher self does know how. Wouldn't be telling you. There wouldn't be a resonance within you that says move, do something. It wouldn't be telling you that if it didn't have a plan for how you do it. So the question you have, rather than saying, I don't know how to do that, is say, how? Spirit says move, okay, what's my step? And Spirit's not going to tell you 15 steps ahead. And I have a theory about that. I don't know, but I have a theory. Is that if Spirit told you all of the steps, you'd run screaming in the night. You say, oh, absolutely not. That's not going to happen because each step gets you ready for the next step. Okay? So one step at a time. That's all you get. That's all you need. And when you take that one step, the next step will be revealed. So you can trust that. That's how it works. Because Spirit knows that we are human beings on this planet, and we scare easily. And so Spirit's only going to share with us the one step. We don't need to keep trying to stay. It's like trying to stay in the womb. Okay? It's in 9 months. Time for you to come out. Time for you to come out. You cannot go back up into the womb. You cannot go back to where you were. It's always progression. It's always progression. We don't need to be afraid of it. And if we are, there's no punishment for it. Just walk through the fear anyway. Walk through the fear anyway, because you know it's going to come out okay. And here's the other thing, too, I just want to share with you. If you're not sure that it's spirit talking, because there's a lot of voices in our head. There's a lot of things going on. We want to do that. We're like, is this me just wanting to do it? Is spirit talking to me? Why can't you just say, Spirit, make it plain? Is this you or not? Why can't you just ask that question? Because Spirit will answer. Child, I don't talk to you like that. That's not me. Or, you know it's me. Of course it's me. He'll respond. Spirit will respond to whatever you need. So if you're not sure that you're getting a message from Spirit, just say it. Spirit, make it plain. Is this you? Is this a message from you or not? That's all. Just ask for what you need. There is I think I've shared with these guys before. I think I might have even had a video of it. I couldn't get the video going. But it's a great video. It's a nature video. And I'm just trying to think what kind of, it's some bird. I don't know what kind of bird it is. But they live out just on a high cliff. And in order to fly, in order to learn how to fly and leave the nest, the parents kick them out of the nest in this huge high cliff, and they just dive. They just fall. And they hit rocks as they go down and hitting the side of the cliff and all this sort of thing until they figure it out and start flapping their little wings. Not all of them make it. Some of them hit the ground. And the parents are at the bottom waiting for them. The parents kick them out and they fly down to the bottom to wait for them. They either make it or they don't. This is life, right? Not everybody makes it through the birth canal, right? That's just the way it is. We can't go backwards. We have to move forward with whatever it is Spirit is asking us to do. Spirit is not going to have us hitting cliffs and rocks and falling to our deaths. That's not going to happen. I pointed that up because that is life. I'm trying to tell you about what life is about, and that we are constantly being asked to move forward. Now, if you don't move forward, believe me, you're not going to stand still. It's either move forward or move backwards. There is no such thing as standing still, ever. No such thing. So get that out of your head. That's not going to happen. Oh, if I just stand here, it'll be all right. No, it won't. It won't, because here is not here anymore. It's not available to you anymore. That's why Spirit is asking you to move forward. It's not here anymore. Okay? So that is what we're talking about. That's what, to me, Easter is all about. It's about the resurrection. It is about becoming. It is about dying to self and being born again. You have to die to self, die to what you know, and allow the great thing that's coming next to be here now, to be born again. Spirit isn't going to leave you in a lurch. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. Don't be afraid. And if you are afraid, why can't you just ask Spirit to say, take the fear away from me? Just ask Spirit to take it away. Show me something that will alleviate the fear. Everything you need from Spirit, you can ask for. Do you understand that? And that is why you want to get into a personal relationship. I recommend that you have it like a bestie, someone you talk to all the time, just like you talk to your best friend, whoever that may be. Talk to God the same way. Talk to God the same way. Make it personal. Make it something that is for you, for your life, because that's what God's here for. That's what we're all here for. And then, when we do that, what's the power of that is that you get to live your purpose. Believe me when I tell you, each and every one of us are here with a purpose. And it's calling us forward. It's always calling us forward. We don't necessarily recognize. Sometimes we do. Some people are born with knowing what their purpose is. Some people have to come to it. That's okay, however you do. But there is a purpose for you, and the purpose is something that will bring you joy. It seems so easy. It's so simple. It's so much of who you are. It can't be my purpose. It's too easy. This can't be it. Yeah, it is. It is it. And here's what the thing is that when you live your purpose, here's why it's so important to do it. When you live your purpose, there are people who are waiting for you to do that because they need what you're doing. They need what you are doing. That is why. And so Spirit won't give you a purpose that someone else doesn't need you to do. You understand that? That's what your service is. Service to God and mankind and yourself. It's to live fully who you are, bring your own self joy, and those who need what you have will be drawn to you. That's the promise. That's the promise. So that's what Easter is about to me. To me. That's my version of what Easter is. Letting go of who you were and becoming who you are meant to be and living your purpose here on life. One quote that I wanted to leave with you, and I can't remember what the name, I don't know this person, but I love the quote. And she said, everything we need to know, we learned on that first Easter. And that is, we never die, and love never ends. Okay? That's it. We don't die, and love never ends. And so it is.